Hello and welcome to this tutorial on creating a dashboard using Power BI. I'm going to take you through bringing some Excel files into Power BI and going through the steps of looking at the data, transforming it if it needs to be transformed, loading it into Power BI, and then starting to create some of the visualizations that are possible. We're going to join some tables within Power BI based on various fields. We'll be doing some calculations using DAX functions and creating the charts and the tables. So I'm assuming that you have Power BI installed, and if you have any experience with Tableau, etc., then you'll probably find this a little bit more straightforward, but it should be quite easy to understand. So here we go. Right, here we are. This is an example of what we're going to create. It contains 4 visualizations together on one page. And I'll just go back to the source data we're going to use. Now I've gone to kaggle.com and I've downloaded these 5 files in Excel format. So let's just show you what Kaggle looks like. So kaggle.com has publicly available free data sets. They're real data sets on many topics from all over the world, so it's a great source of information if you want to do some testing, not having to create a good data set yourself. And if you're learning or training, you can be using the same data set and make sure you're getting the same results. The next step is to open Power BI. I'll just open this on my desktop. I'll wait for it to initialize, and then we'll start bringing our data in and creating our project. So you'll see this flash screen. You can have a look at these videos if you like, familiarize yourself with the application. And I'll just close that one. So what we're going to do first of all is going to get data. So we're going to bring that data in to our project, and we're going to choose Excel. You can see all the options you have of sources. So for this purpose, I'm just going to bring these in one at a time. I'll just show you one and then do all the others because it'll be exactly the same process. So we'll just check that one. We can have a look at our data there. Have a look that it's quite clean, which it is. Now you can choose to transform the data. Transforming the data, there will be things like Power BI might assume that a field that is a number should be a number, whereas if you have a postcode, you probably want to save that as a text data type rather than a number, and just things like that that you may need to transform while you're there. So I'm quite happy with how it looks, so I'm just going to load that, and so that will bring it into Power BI for me. So I'll just let that load, and any second now you can now see the fields from the load. Now you see that circuit ID, which is identifier, it's has the auto sum icon. Now probably that would have been more suitable as a text, but it's not going to bother us at the moment, and we can change it at a later stage if we want to. So there's our data. Now if we want to at any stage want to have a look at our data that's in there, these 3 icons on the side here, we have the report, which is what we're going to create in this console space here. Then we have our data. Now you can see we only have one data set at the moment, so there it is. There are our fields and there's our data, and as you add more you'll see them here. And then the next one is our relationships. and this is where we would do the joins. Power BI will attempt to do the joins based on the field names and do that for you. You just may want to double check that the joins are correct. So we only have one table at the moment. I'll have another look at that once we get all the data in. So I'll come back to you once we have all the data loaded. Okay, our files are now in. You can see them there on the right, and we'll just go over to our relationships and have a look what's happened over there. I can move these in a bit, make them a bit more condensed, and we'll double check the relationships that Power BI has given us. So bear with me one moment. That's better. So in order to check the relationships, we can see circuits is joined to races here across the top. So you can right click on that join line and go to properties, and you'll see the field that's been used in both tables. So where it's grayed out there, you can see circuit ID and circuit ID. So there's the circuits table, there's the races table, and that's what I would have chosen. So that's all good. We'll do the same here. So we've got constructors table and we've got the results table. This time using constructor ID, which is great. We have these two left. So the results and the drivers based on the driver's ID. And finally, the results and the races by the race ID. So that's how I would have made the joins. So it's been very helpful doing that for me. Very important to get the joins right, otherwise it could make all sorts of differences to the results that come out. So we're good to go now. So we can go into our console area, and at this stage we should consider saving our work. As dashboard 5, I'm going to call mine. And we'll start with, probably the best way to do this is to start with a plan of what tables you've got and what sort of metrics you want to display. So it is worth getting a pen and paper out and just scribbling out the squares of what you want where. I'm going to start my project with a pie chart. So I'll come and click on a pie chart. The first one will appear from whatever you select in the visualizations options here. So there's our pie chart, and as you can see, it's been selected because you can see the border around it. Now I've decided that I'm going to do, the values are going to be the points that are awarded to the drivers, and I'm going to do a pie chart at a high level on the constructors and the nationality of the team. So I'm going into create a pie chart, which we have on in this page in the console at the moment. We're going to do the main metric we're going to use are points that the drivers earn, and so there are our points. Now keep in mind the points are going to be the values, so we're putting the fields over here into the visualization columns where they are most suited, and then we can apply filters if we need to in the filters column. So the data that we've got extends over several years from approximately 2012 to 2017, and all the points are added together. That's why you're seeing quite large numbers of points. It's not just one season. Those of you who follow Formula One may find this an easier project to follow if you know the drivers, etc., because the data is more meaningful. It's one of the reasons I chose this, as I'm a keen Formula One fan. So here we are. We are now looking for the most suitable fields to put in for our constructors. Now, I've noticed that we have a nationality. So this is the constructors table. Now, the nationality, we also have a nationality in one of our other tables, which is for the driver, but this is for constructors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this constructor nationality, and that will update. And also the name is actually refers to the team, so I'm going to change that to team. And so if you change the names here, then as you bring them into the visualization column, that's what you'll find. So let's see, we want the constructor's nationality there, and we want the team to be there. Now, as we go over to our chart, you see this focus mode. Let's click on that, and we can see the name points and first constructor nationality by team. First constructor is the name that has been given to this field by Power BI, which doesn't really make much sense, so I'm going to remove it. And so it has points and constructor nationality by team, and also I'm going to notice that I've put a filter in here, and I'll just take that off and do it again. You can see that there are quite a few drivers over that 5 or 6 year period, and we don't really want to see them all. We want to see the main champion drivers. So I'm going to put a filter on for the top 10 of the points, of the teams. So in the filters column, you've got the team there. We'll click this bottom arrow, and we have the option for advanced filtering, basic filtering, and top N. We'll choose top N, and we'll go top 10. Now we're going to do it by the points field, which is there. So we're going to do that as by the value, and then we're going to apply the filter. And there we are, the top 10. So as data comes into it, or as we do filtering from the other charts that will be on this page, they'll be filtered to the top 10. And so we can then choose this back to report, and we're ready for the next one. The next chart is going to be a stacked column chart. So because we are introducing a new chart, we click on the new visual. It will just give any chart type and put it onto the page for you. You can move it around to suit yourself, but that's where I want it, so that's perfect. I'm going to choose the stack bar option, which I've got. I have it highlighted so you can see the border. Now we're going to go over, and this time I'm going to do the points by driver name and driver nationality. So coming over to the constructors, probably won't be in this much. The drivers will be. and the points, of course. So the points I'm going to put into the values straight away, and now I'm going to add the driver name. Now we don't actually have a driver name field as yet, so we're going to have to create one from the first name and the last name of the fields in the driver table. So how we do that is I'll come over here to new column, and we'll just give that a moment. Now you can see the column equals. Now I have the syntax here, which I will post outside the video on YouTube, etc. So I now have, if you have a look here, I've got a field called driver name. So the driver name I'm actually going to put on the axis here. We'll just have a look at that in a moment. And the next thing I was going to put on was the nationality. Now this is a drivers table, F1 drivers. So the nationality I'm going to rename to driver nationality. Wait for that to update, and I'm going to put that under legend. Right, let's look for that icon again, focus mode, and have a look at what we've got. Now we have once again quite a lot of options here that we need to reduce using the filter. So let's go back to report, make sure we've got that selected. Now we're going to filter based on the driver name. So in the filters, so notice I've got driver name, I've got nationality, and I've got points, and in the filters they're the ones that appear. So I've decided I'm going to use a driver name, and I'm going to do my top 10 again. So top 10, and I'm going to use the points again for my values. So it's going to be the top 10 points. Apply the filter. That's better. Let's have another look at it. Much tidier. And you can see who has the most points. Again, reminder that this is over several years. That's why the points are so high, and it's not just one season. But it does give you an idea of who's who and who's winning. You can see that if you do follow Formula One, you've got Michael Schumacher still racing. Daniel Ricciardo's just come in. Mark Webber is still racing. So this is a few years old now. So let's go back to the report there, and we'll move on to the next one. Okay, our next chart is going to be a key influencer. This is a very interesting chart that Power BI has made available. So at the Home tab, we go to New Visual. There's our new chart. We'll put that there next to our pie chart, and then we will click on the one we want, Key Influencers. Right, so what we're going to put here is, you'll notice that the fields under visualizations are slightly different, and this works in a slightly different way to the other charts that we've done. Now we're still using the points, so we're going to analyze the points. So we're going to put the points under the analyze field. We're going to the explain by, and we're going to use the driver nationality and also the team. I believe constructors, the team. Now let's just expand that and have a look at it. Now the interesting thing about this is it's giving you it's an analysis, automatically an analysis of what you could do to increase, in this case, your points. So if you want to analyze your points, as we selected over here, we're putting in the and explain by the sort of fields that we think, you know, what effect would the team have or the driver's nationality have on increasing or decreasing the points. So the answer it's come out with is, if you want to increase your points, your team ideally would be Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari. Your driver nationality would be German, and your team down the bottom there, you can see they're down in descending order of the assistance that would give. And basically, if you're following Formula One, you'd have to agree with what it said there. Mercedes is in front, Red Bull's doing very well, Ferrari's doing very well, Sebastian Vettel, German driver, and is also doing very well as a driver. So it tends to be on the true side. Let's have a look at what may decrease the points. So if you wanted to decrease your points, these are your options. So have a team called ATS, or Zack Speed, or Minardi, or Lola, Arrows, several, many there. Driver nationality, I won't go into these. These are purely the analysis of the tool, but it's based on the figures that it's been given in order to come up with that. And I find that this is useful in a variety of circumstances. It could be used for churn in telecommunications, for example. What are the influencing factors? Anyway, that was a nice quick one. I think it's valuable information for our project. So in a moment we'll go on to the last one. The last chart we're going to bring in is going to be a map. So I'll just click on the map icon, bring that in, select my map. Now we're going to have the circuit name. So if we go to circuits and we have name, I want to rename that so it's nice and clear. Circuit name, and circuit name is going to go under the legend. The points, once again, are going to go, well, in this case, are going to go in size, because slightly different use this time. Now, because it's a map, it's looking for latitude and longitude, which we have here. So selecting the latitude and longitude, it's going to drag latitude there. Oh, we've had some sort of effect going on with the chart here. Let me just drag in the longitude while I'm here, and let's expand our chart and see what's happening. To display latitude and longitude pairs, set the aggregate to don't summarize. So they're not to be aggregated in any way, which is fair enough, because they're supposed to be standalone reference points. So let's go and have a look at the drop down here, and we have an option of don't summarize. So let's select that, and we'll do the same with the latitude. And there's our chart back, and there's also the points, the size of the points over the 5 or so year period of this report data. The more points, the bigger the circle. So let's just expand this, and you can see where the tracks are and the number of points. Okay, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial and get you started with Power BI. I would recommend getting yourself a trial and just playing around with it with those data sets from Kaggle and see what you can create. Loads of really good options there. The main points are plan your reports before you start creating them, probably based on what you've been asked to report on, obviously, and that would just save you a bit of time toing and froing between the sorts of charts you're going to use, etc. I would go from a high level to low level, so you can drill down on all of these charts depending what you want. So if you're starting with a high level, you drill down or have the option to drill down, then all of your audience are satisfied. They can look at whatever level they like and get whatever they need out of the information. Let's see. Once you've created your reports on the same page, clicking on one metric is going to affect all the other visualizations on the page. So you can see real time and what's happening depending on what you've chosen. And you can also publish these and make them available off the internet through a link, which is really handy if someone's using the mobile app and they're out in the field and they still want to get access to the data. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one.